Hello and welcome to my WWE Summerslam 2020 review. Whoo boy, what a show. I'm throwing it out there. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed a main roster WWE pay-per-view that much. And there've been some good ones, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people that's just gonna poop all over everything WWE does. There've been some enjoyable shows in recent years, but I can't remember the last time I just thoroughly enjoyed watching a show that much. I really can't. That was excellent. And I haven't given it like a great deal of thought and sorted them all into order, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's in the minimum top 10, probably top 5 SummerSlams of all time. That was a great show. If you didn't enjoy that, I don't know what you want out of WWE. Like, I don't know what you want from them if you didn't enjoy that. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts were. If you didn't enjoy it, please try and explain exactly why. And don't just point out one moment, because the show as a whole, I just thought was excellent. Not every single match and every single moment was perfect, but I just thought it was a really solid show overall. So yeah, feel free to disagree. Just try and back it up, I'd like to know why, if you didn't enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, agree in the comments as well. I want that side of the argument represented as well. Without further ado, let's get into the match by match. And again, just like the NXT review, I didn't take notes, so this is all from memory, so apologies if I forget anything significant. Let me know in the comments, we can discuss it down there if there's anything major that I forget to mention. So on the pre-show, the kickoff show, we had Apollo Crews defending the United States Championship against MVP. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin were banned from ringside. They came out, they had new music, apparently. That's how much attention I was paying to the pre-show up until the point where the match got started. I was like, oh, match, and started actually watching. I had it on, but I was just doing my thing. I think I was spamming the predictions video into Facebook groups, if I'm being honest. So, related Facebook groups, not just here, there, and everywhere. Anyway, so yeah, apparently they have new music, so I can't wait to check that out. I heard a few good things on Twitter about it, a few people praising it. But yeah, all three of them came out. I think that was a new shirt as well they were wearing. I saw that. I wasn't fully tuned in with my ears, but my eyes saw the new shirt. And then Lashley and Benjamin went to the back, and MVP came down and did the match on his own. It was a fairly standard pre-show match, kickoff show match. It wasn't bad by any stretch, but, it was 6.5 minutes long, just over. And Apollo Crews retained. Correct decision. I predicted it correctly. Bing, bang, bong. After the, or bish, bash, bosh, whichever you prefer. When the match was over, Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley came down to the ring and went after Apollo Crews, but Apollo Crews escaped. So, as I sort of said in my prediction video, I'm getting the feeling that we might not have seen the end of this Hurt Business versus Apollo Crews feud. I just feel like it's probably going to transition into the final boss, which is Bobby Lashley. So yeah, I think that's where we're going forward. But I predicted this one right, 1 from 1. Opening match on the main show was Bayley defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Asuka. This was a really fun match, really good choice for opener. I was surprised that they mentioned a few times they said later Asuka will be challenging Sasha Banks. I got the impression they were going to be doing these matches back to back. But no, in fact, Asuka got a bit of a rest in between, so the whole thing about who's going first made a lot less difference. Still made a bit of difference, I suppose. Fundamentally, Asuka's not as fresh if she's already wrestled once tonight, but if it was back-to-back, it'd be such a massive advantage to go second. Whereas this way, it's just a slight advantage, I guess. I loved Sasha's tracksuit. She looked fresh in that. Like, honestly, that was a really nice tracksuit. I couldn't think of the word, so I went early 90s with it. Probably even older. Yeah, it was a really nice outfit. Anyway, Bayley. So the match was really good. It's Bayley and Asuka. Like, anyone that didn't expect this match to be good going in probably hasn't ever watched NXT, is all I can say. Because these two were always going to light it up if they were allowed to. And that they were. Bayley picks up the win with a roll-up after Sasha took like the running hip attack, they call it, where Asuka butts you with her butt, not with her head, not a head butt, just a butt. So she ran in, she hit Sasha off the apron because Bayley dodged out the way, and then while Asuka was caught up in the ropes, Bayley rolled her up in a small package. It was straight after a false finish of this sort, so it was quite a clever finish because I think Sasha distracted Asuka. And then Asuka was on the apron, and Bayley did a schoolboy, or schoolgirl I suppose, roll up through the ropes, which was pretty cool. But then Asuka kicked out of that, and then shortly after they did another Sasha distraction into another roll up, but this one got her. And I thought that was quite a clever, like, little double triple swerve where it was like, okay, so it's getting annoying, we're getting near the finale of the match, but she's going to kick out of this. Oh no, she didn't, kind of thing. I thought that was a good moment. Yeah, Bayley, as I predicted, retains the SmackDown Women's Championship with some help from Sasha Banks. So I'm 2 for 2. Go me. And then it all starts to go downhill. It actually didn't go that badly. If you watch my predictions video, you know how it went, but we'll cover it one at a time. Up next, the Street Profits defending the Raw Tag Team Championships against Andrade and Angel Garza. Now, I think this was probably the first one I was a bit unsure about when I did the predictions. Because I did say it could go either way. Because of the Angel Garza Andrade kind of mini split up little beef storyline they've got building up. But I actually sided with maybe they'll get the titles and maybe losing them will be what breaks them up. Or, they'll continue to slowly build this breakup. But instead, the Street Profits retained with a quite frankly astounding frog splash from Montez Ford. I ran a poll on Twitter after a few more matches asking who had the best frog splash of the night, Montez Ford, Dominic Mysterio, because of course he was going to do one, or Sasha Banks, because of course she was going to do one. And I was surprised how few votes Montez Ford got, because he got air. He folded up right, he elongated. Oh, and did I mention he basically rotated 180 in the air as well? He basically landed almost facing back at the turnbuckle he jumped from. It was impressive, and people were voting for Sasha Banks' lame one over that. I don't know. Dominic's wasn't terrible, but Montez Ford wins that in my opinion. Let me know in the comments who you think had the best frog splash of the night. But yeah, the Street Profits retain with a frog splash from Montez Ford, and afterwards, Andrade and Angel Garza are bickering on their way back up the ramp, so they are slowly working their way towards that storyline. Next was the no disqualification, loser leaves... Oh, by the way, I got that prediction wrong, so I'm 2 from 3. The no disqualification, loser leaves WWE match between Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Now, I predicted a Mandy victory after what has happened. I think Mandy was always going to win the hair match as well. I can fully picture Sonya being up for shaving her head and trying a new look. But when the stipulation was changed, I was like, that pretty much confirms that Sonya's going to have to, be in court and giving evidence and, and just psychologically dealing with what's happened to her this week as well. So I think this was fairly obvious. She's not. I don't think she's really gone. I don't think she's like actually leaving. I think she's just gonna take some time away. Unless this whole thing has shook her up so bad that she's like, I don't want to be in the public eye anymore, and asked WWE for a release. It's possible. I hope that's not the case. I really do. I don't think that's the case, but it could come out in the next few days that is what's happened, and that would be really unfortunate. So this match, it was you know what? It was pretty good. It was pretty good. There was bits that didn't go to plan. Mandy Rose versus the table, there was bits that didn't go to plan, but these two women just went through, because Mandy was in the house with Sonya, when the whole stalker thing went down. So both of these women have just been through something this week, and to perform like a menial job to the best of your abilities, and no disrespect to any job out there, but if you have a fairly autopilot job might be a good way to describe it, where, to perform that to best of your abilities after going through what Mandy and Sonya went through this week would be difficult. This is a very risky and very closely scrutinised by a lot of people job. Being a WWE superstar, being a professional wrestler, whatever term you prefer, depending on if you're Vince McMahon or literally anyone else on the planet. They did great considering. Like, I feel like this match could have been better had they not had the week they've just had, but I don't think there was any, like, I didn't have any massive gripes with it at all. I thought they did really well. I thought the correct decision was to have Mandy win. To give Sonya that time. Because as much as Mandy's been through something this week, it was Sonya's house. And Sonya was the target. Mandy was sort of incidental. I spoke about this in the predictions video. How if Sonya would have had any friend in the house at all, they'd have got the same treatment as Mandy. Mandy was not the target, and so as much as I fully expect Mandy to be shaken up by it a little bit, Sonya's obviously taken the brunt of it, I would say. So hopefully both are alright. But yeah, the correct decision to give Sonya the time off. And the reason... Well, no, it's not the reason, but a thing that pointed towards I don't think Sonya's actually leaving is they didn't reconcile at the end, which I'm glad they didn't. I don't think they should have. But I feel like if Sonya was actually leaving, I feel like she'd have sort of been like, yeah, fair enough, you got me, sorry, kind of thing, and then they hug and Sonya leaves. Maybe, I don't know, they're not always going to do that, but I feel like this storyline, and with everyone basically knowing what's happened in real life, would be forgiven for doing that. But I feel like the fact that Sonya basically just rolled out and kind of left heelishly, and then Otis came and celebrated with Mandy, I think that kind of points to the fact that we will see Sonya again at some point. I hope it does. I hope I'm not just reading too much into that. Even if I am, I hope I'm right. Even if it's for the wrong reasons, and I hope we see Sonya again once everything's cleared up legally, and more importantly, psychologically, she's back in the right place to come back. I hope it's not too long for her sake, and just because she's a good character, she's an entertaining on-screen performer. Okay, next match. They put the no DQ stipulations back to back, but I don't think either one suffered for it. I certainly don't think the second one suffered for it. Like, whoo! What a match. Was it the longest match of the night? It was the longest match of the night. I'm on Wikipedia just to remind me what order the matches were in and stuff, because like I said, I didn't write any notes. So this was Seth Rollins against Dominic Mysterio. Now, earlier in the night, they'd had a segment with Dominic making Ray promise to stay out of this match, which someone tweeted out. It was one of the dirt sheet, the bigger dirt sheet kind of guys tweeted out that they were glad they did this segment, because otherwise how would you explain in a no DQ match Ray Mysterio not just jump in the ring as soon as the bell rings, and just going after Seth. That would make sense. Except you could just easily have Ray and Murphy cancel each other out and what have you. But they went with the route of Dominic requesting that Ray stay out of it. Ray, what's the word? Not accepting, respecting his son's wishes. There's a better word, but I can't think what it is. Adhering to his son's request, I think, is what I was after. I was after something to begin with an A. But anyway, he was respecting what Dominic wanted and staying out the match for the vast majority, up until the point where Murphy was getting involved and trying to take Dominic's eye out. But anyway, let's cover this match. So, they started off, and it was flipping Disco Inferno. He's an idiot sometimes on Twitter, Disco Inferno, Glenn Gilberti. And he thinks because he's been a wrestler, he knows everything, and it's like, sometimes you just say something stupid, mate. It doesn't matter how long you've done a job for. If you say something stupid about the job, you say something stupid about the job, So Disco was like, why are they I thought this was supposed to be a street fight, because they were starting out with Seth Rollins schooling Dominic in some technical wrestling, and I was like, it's character work. It makes sense for Seth to be the cocky, look at me, I'm a better wrestler than you kind of character early in the match, to show up Dominic. That made perfect sense to sort of establish his dominance. Dominic has laid waste to him a couple of times with a kendo stick. Why would he go in all guns blazing, kendo stick versus kendo stick? That's a much more even fight than a wrestling match, between Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio, like, who's in his first match against Seth Rollins, who is very much not. You know, like, it made perfect sense. It almost didn't make sense that Seth was the one who introduced weapons to the match, to be honest. Like, it probably should have been Dominic somehow, like, you know, Ray slid a kendo stick to him and he started swinging or something. I don't know. But yeah, I just found that a really strange complaint. I just distinctly remember that tweet. I think I replied to it just saying, like, what do you mean? Like, it makes perfect sense for Seth's character. Anyway, so yeah, the match was really good. Get on Twitter, the link's in the description. My account name is in the description, because if you link away from YouTube, you get punished by the algorithm or something, or you used to. I don't know if that's still the case. But anyway, yeah, so just get on Twitter and look me up. Same name as the channel name, WWE Beza. I posted a poll, and I gave it a week because I thought, I really want to get people's input on this over a stretch of time. Who had the better debut match this weekend? Pat McAfee or Dominic Mysterio? Because both were just incredible. Like, both were being led by Adam Cole and Seth Rollins. Like, as much as people like to, you know, pick on Seth Rollins because he says stupid things on Twitter, there's no doubting he knows what he's doing in a wrestling ring. I'm not saying he's like the best in the world or anything, but he can lead a match. You know, like, he knows what he's doing. And, yeah, they both led their respective newbies to amazing matches, really, this weekend. So yeah, get on Twitter and get a vote in. Let me know. And let me know in the comments if you wish as well, who had the better debut match. But yeah, this match was incredible. Dominic ended up getting some offense in. Seth's attire, his shout out to Rey Mysterio's Halloween Havoc attire. Beautiful. Because it was beautiful on two levels. The cocky scumbag heel Seth Rollins mocking Dominic's father by wearing a sort of a quote-unquote tribute attire, but obviously can be taken as like a bit of a dig, like, you know, I'm better than your dad, look, watch, you know, like, I can do what he could do in his prime kind of thing. I don't know, I feel like it could come across as a really heelish move, but you know deep down as well, it was a show of respect from, what's his real name, Colby Lopez, to, what's his name, Oscar, who cares what his name is, he was showing respect to Rey Mysterio, you know. I think it worked on two levels, the kayfabe level and the out of kayfabe level, and it was a really cool looking attire, like, really good. So yeah, the match overall, really fun, a bit of interference, you know, blah blah. The match finished with Rey Mysterio handcuffed to the, I assume, middle rope. Can he reach up and reach the top rope? Not sure. And then Dominic's mum, whose name has just slipped out of my head, but she was at the top of the ramp because she'd come out before to try and convince Ray to help Dominic because he was in trouble, and Ray was like explaining, look, I promised him I won't let any harm come to him, but I've got to stay out of this as much as I can. So she was at the top of the ramp, and then Seth's like, oh, I'm going to go after her now that you can't do anything. And then Dominic defends his mum and then ends up eating a stomp and getting pinned. And Ray's, like, obviously handcuffed. Now, I actually picked Dominic to win this. I basically, this weekend I've learned WWE ain't doing risky booking at the moment. Like, play all the decisions safe when you're doing predictions. Like, because the only things I've really got wrong were the risky decisions. Oh, and the Street Profits match, which was kind of a 50-50, a toss-up. It was kind of a risky one because I'm aware that the team I picked to win are in the middle of a breakup storyline. So you could argue that all four that I got wrong so far have been risky picks. If I'd have played everything what I would consider safe, I would be 100% so far. It was a fairly predictable weekend, but I don't think that's always a bad thing. Logical booking isn't always a bad thing. So yeah, anyway, Seth wins. I predicted Dominic. Wait, how many matches are we in now? 5, and I've got 2 wrong, so I'm on 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, which as Meatloaf once said, ain't bad. I was actually on 2 out of 3 and didn't say it then, but whatever. Next match, Asuka and Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. So, again, as predicted, this storytelling was spot on, it was correct, it was the right way to do things, and they seem, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but hopefully if they didn't, they clock onto it and keep running with it. They've got this thing with Sasha Banks where she's never successfully defended a main roster title, singles title, ever. like against Charlotte, she lost it on first defense every time. That when they were exchanging the title back in 2016, I think it was. Yeah, 16. And then now she hasn't defended this title yet, and then she's lost it again. So they're keeping this thing going. I quite like it. Maybe her first successful defense will be the SmackDown Women's title when she takes it off Bayley and then defends it against her. Like that's kind of my pick at the moment for how they'll end that story, because they're not going to keep it going for years and years because ADHD WWE, you know, they're not just not going to, are they? But yeah, so this match, Asuka beat Sasha Banks, and commentary kind of tried to blame Bayley for it, but didn't Sasha just get reversed, put in a submission and tap out? I don't know if they were blaming Bayley for like not helping a partner, but usually they're all over Bayley and Sasha Banks for interfering in each other's matches, so now you can't be encouraging it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she should have helped. Like, no, she shouldn't. She literally shouldn't have helped. That's sort of the point. So, yeah, Asuka tapped out Sasha with the Asuka lock. This match was scrappy in places, but I still think it was a good match. I don't think it was as good as Asuka and Bayley earlier in the night. There was a few bits that were a bit too rough around the edges for my liking. But still a good match, correct result, good story being told. Looking forward to seeing what the fallout is on Raw tonight. Next, semi-main event, Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. And I was concerned with this one. I was like, I'm not confident in my pick. I kind of picked with my heart, because my head couldn't decide. I picked who I wanted to win, and he did. Drew McIntyre overcame Randy Orton in pretty surprising fashion. We may see a rematch at Payback. We may just see a rematch because of maybe that's why they did the finish they did. So basically, the match itself was good. You know, it was a methodically, deliberately paced match. You know, which not everyone's a big fan of, but I think as long as you're telling the right story and you're telling it well, I don't have a problem with that. I think they can be just as entertaining as the gymnastics displays, the flip, flop and fly matches that you get in certain other companies. I thought this match was great. I really enjoyed this match. The finish came. Randy Orton had a great counter for the Claymore, by the way, which was he just dropped to the mat and Drew just flew over him, which I thought was really good. And then was it immediately after that? I think it was either immediate or very soon after, as Drew's getting up, Randy Orton goes for the RKO, and Drew just turns around and backslides him and pins him with a backslide. When was the last time a WWE main roster match, or just a TV match in general, was won with a backslide? It's been a while. That was a throwback. The backslide of doom. So yeah, Drew picked up the win with the backslide, much to the surprise of everyone, I think, including Drew McIntyre, including Randy Orton. Obviously in character, they knew the finish. I'm not dumb. But commentators, people on Twitter, me, like, I was just like, oh, okay. I wasn't mad about it. It was a good... The reason I wasn't mad about it is it gave the impression Drew had gone in with a plan. Like, if the opportunity presents itself, when the RKO comes, I can counter it like this, and it'll catch him off guard. It felt planned by Drew. Not planned by Drew and Randy outside of kayfabe. I mean, within kayfabe, it felt planned, and I liked it. He sort of outsmarted Orton. But I do fully expect there to be a rematch, possibly as soon as Payback. Possibly with some kind of stipulation, maybe 2 out of 3 falls, like you can't fluke it twice or something. I don't know what they'll do, or maybe just a straight up rematch, like, you know, yeah, fool me once, shame on me, shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me kind of deal. I don't know. But it was a good match. It's all I'm saying about the whole show. Good match, good match, good match, good match, good show. I don't know exactly when it was. I think it might have been after the WWE title match. I'll mention it here anyway. Keith Lee's coming to Raw. I'm looking forward to that. He got booked really well during the NXT Survivor Series invasion storyline. Got booked reasonably well in the Royal Rumble. I know people complaining, oh, Brock just logged him out. But when he was face-to-face with Brock and not distracted by, I think it was Braun, he was holding his own with Brock. He was being put over by Brock quite a bit. So, I'm not worried about Keith Lee on main. It could all go to hell. as it could with literally anyone that goes up to main. But Keith Lee's got a good chance. He really does. And I wonder if that announcement maybe means they already know what Karrion Kross's condition is and aren't overly concerned. Because I feel like the obvious answer if Karrion Kross was injured would be to put the belt back on Keith Lee somehow. Either by winning it back off Kross in quick fashion or vacate some form of tournament and Lee wins it. He's right there, ready for an NXT title reign. I'm not sure if they'd have moved him to Raw if Kross was going to be out. I don't know. Again, maybe reading too much into it and a bit of wishful thinking, but we will find out over the coming week or so. Anyway, main event. Everyone was chuffed, by the way, on Twitter. Wrestlers, fans alike. Everyone's really pleased for Keith Lee. He's just widely known as like the nicest guy in wrestling. And I firmly believe it. So many people say it, it must be true, that know him. So yeah, kudos to Keith Lee. Congratulations. Hope it works out well for you and you don't regret it like so many have. Anyway, main event. Braun Strowman defending the Universal Championship against The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, in a Falls Count Anywhere match. This match was basically what we expected. People were saying, this lived up to the hype in that it was trash. It wasn't trash. It wasn't a 6-star Tokyo Dome match. But it wasn't ever going to be. It wasn't supposed to be. What were people watching this expecting? Like, realistically, what were people watching this expecting? The only thing that let me down was I thought they had a great opportunity to have a spot where... and I don't know exactly how they'd have worked this, but they could have had a couple of the fans in the audience in the Thunderdome, on the screens, being stooges, being plants. And at some point, Bray could have gripped Braun, and they could have somehow teleported into the background of one of the plants, so they were in a fan's home kind of thing, and brawling there. I thought that it just came to me. I thought, wouldn't that be a really cool idea? Someone tweeted, "I hope they go and brawl in amongst the fans," and I was like, no, go one step further, brawl in the fans' homes. I mean, obviously you kayfabe it, but how cool would that have been? Really wish they'd thought of a way of doing that, and I don't know, maybe the idea didn't even occur to them, or maybe they just couldn't think of a practical way of pulling it off. I don't know, but I really wish that had happened, because that would have been fun. But to go on about this match like it was disappointing, no, it was a good example of what these two do. It was a character-driven match. It was a storyline match, where the story was Braun's monstrous side not being enough and to take down the Fiend at all, and just the Fiend keep popping back, and Braun losing that belief, basically. And I thought it was told really well. Fiend picks up the win, picks up the Universal title. Everything's right in the world. We can just write off February to August now in the Universal title, and just say the Fiend held it all the way through. Goldberg didn't happen. Let's just do that. Then after the match, you'll never see it coming. And boy, did we not. Wow. Roman Reigns is back, and he speared the Fiend. He took out Braun Strowman on the outside. He beat him with a chair. He speared him. In the other order. And then he went back in and he speared Fiend again. And he had a new shirt that I want. What was it? Something like... I can't remember what the word was. It was something everyone and leave, and it was basically like waste everyone and leave. I can't remember. Hang on. I'm gonna find it. I need to know. It's gonna bug me. But yeah, he had a new shirt that I want because it's cool, and a new attitude that I hope he keeps, and they just keep him as just a badass, because that's what Roman Reigns is supposed to do. He's not supposed to cut Thuffering Thuckatash promos. He's supposed to... Roman Reigns. Here we go. Yeah, he's supposed to just kick some butt, wreck everyone and leave. That's the word. I like it. I like the attitude. I like the surprise. That was awesome. Genuinely. I popped at home for that. I was like, and I'm not the biggest Roman Reigns fan. I don't think he deserves a lot of the hate he gets, but this was just great really good. Makes sense to insert him into this storyline because it's run its course. Ron's had a singles match with each of the faces of Wyatt now. He needs to something needs to get mixed up a bit now. Roman and Braun had that amazing rivalry back in 16, 17, whichever it was. Roman and Bray have crossed paths once or twice, shall we say. So, I think Roman fits in perfectly here in between these two. And I'm really looking forward to what they do going forward. Someone did mention, hopefully they've not just put on this Payback pay-per-view next weekend just to stick the title straight back on Reigns. I agree. I really do agree. I'll be quite upset if they just feed Fiend to Roman Reigns and that's that. I won't be pleased with that at all. But hopefully they don't do that. They made good booking decisions pretty much all night, all weekend. But NXT isn't a surprise. But they made good booking decisions all night at SummerSlam. And long may it continue, to be perfectly honest. I am excited for WWE going forward. I know, those words just came out of my face. It's weird. But I am. Let me know how you're feeling, how optimistic you're feeling, how you enjoyed the show. Is there anything I said here that specifically irked you disagree with strongly? Anything that you thought, that's a damn good point, EBEZ. Let's just have a conversation. Let me know in the comments. Anything you were thinking during the course of this video, whack it in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more wrestling content and share with your friends if you think they would enjoy. I'll be back next weekend with Payback predictions and review, so not long to wait for a similar sort of video if you enjoyed this. Thanks to WWE churning out pay-per-views on a weekly basis now, it seems. Don't forget to check the description as well for my other channels, my social media, and my Patreon, where you can support me for just 1/10 of the WWE Network, $1 per calendar month. It would be greatly appreciated. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been EBEZA, you've been amazing, and I will see you next time.